great games by any mean. Actually, I shouldn't say that.
The
The
first
first
one was
game was
really good.
fun. The excitement of the games drastically reduced each hour.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching live. That the first game was the best game of the night, and then
Awesome.
it was literally downhill and like in a
Quick.
big time sense after that. That second game was like it kind of started out okay, and then it was over before it started.
Yeah.
And that last game was a fucking dud.
I couldn't wait for that game to be over, to be honest
I'm
with you.
surprised
Like,
people stuck around for that.
yeah, I mean, we didn't have the hundreds of people that we did in the first game for you viewing at home. We had great crowds there the other night, but yeah, it was just painful. It was everything about it was painful. But whatever. I mean, I think really the turning point of the evening was the bottom of the second, top of the third of the NHI Torromeo game, where it started just on a downward trend. But we'll get into that soon. And I know this is new. This is new for the Merrimack Minute, Dustin. Do you know what that is?
What's that? You and I hosting?
Well, it started on time.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was also just a random. It was a random night. But I mean, we got to kind of, I don't know, as each series ends, I believe we're just in like that weird, because there was a third game.
Yes.
We're in that weird spot of like, okay, well, what were they going to do? Just wait? And apparently, yeah, they were just going to wait. They were going to wait it out, and we were like, all right, I guess we'll do something.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it either. So Dustin and I just said, "Fuck it, let's go. Let's have some fun." I don't know if we're doing anything later tonight either, but we're gonna have some fun. We're getting warmed up right now.
Yes, we are.
BP, if you will. But you know what? We haven't been on the Merrimack Minute, you and I, since we haven't talked like this about the league probably since the off season.
Just the two of us, probably not. Yeah. I mean, this year in general it flew by. I feel like it was pretty it felt shorter than it definitely was. But what great parity in this league. We literally have said it for, I can't tell you how many times anytime we've talked about Merrimack, it's all about like whoever shows up to play and has their guys there during that night, that's the team that's probably going to win. And outside of, and I say outside of us and Holtz, it kind of was that. I think that was that's just what the records reflected during the year, but it was still the same thing. Like there was a bunch of games where we kind of just won and no one had any idea why we won. You know what I mean?
You beat us with 9 guys and you batted around, I think, before the end of the second inning twice.
But I think we only beat you like 11-10.
Yeah, you started off hot and then you got flat. Right.
Yeah, and then there were games where we were down 15 and ended up winning. Like it's just we had a great regular season, and we're hoping to obviously keep continuing that in the postseason, as everyone likes to bring up that, the first 27 games is our only preseason or scrimmages, and that's a lot of people who don't win in the playoffs say that.
Coming from Chad, that makes complete fucking sense.
Really, who has 0 playoff wins.
I mean, really, he has, I think, 3 wins after June 6th is typically the date for him.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, last night was awesome. I'm just trying to find what the fucking date is and where the scores are, but last night was awesome. Last night was a fun night at the Martel by the River. I don't know if you've heard that name dropped yet, but Martel by the River last night was awesome. I had an absolute blast. And we did go to the league historian, and that was the first time in league history we had 3 elimination games on the same field at the same night. Like it was great. And, we saw it for, as the games, as we had said, the first game was awesome. Kind of started dwindling probably halfway through the NHI game, but didn't matter. The fact that there is 6 teams out there fighting to move on to the semifinals just really just enhanced what this league has been all year, like you were saying. Oh, look at you. Good. Yeah, my scores looked really bad. but it was just a blast, and it was I'm glad we're doing what we're doing down there. We're streaming, we're doing the PA. Like, it really is just, I'm having a fucking ball, even though I'm not playing anymore. And
Yeah,
I just hope we keep going with this.
that piece is so much fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and just going forward, just the ideas that you and I have like bounced off of each other, uh, just about like what we could do with that in different areas. Like, okay, well, is this possible to do during a tournament situation, or like a winners bracket final for a tournament, or anything like that? Like, we might even see the boys down in Taunton this Friday. Not that
Ooh.
that's a Merrimack thing, but yeah,
Well,
I
there's
mean
going to be some
it's
significant others of Merrimack players down there.
yeah. So I mean
Mhm.
it's yeah, it's definitely fun. It makes the game so much more fun, I
Yeah.
think. So
Having that scoreboard back, I think it's a huge thing, because now we're not all just like, hey, what's the score? What's the book? What inning? How many outs? All this shit. We have it. We have it right away, and boom, that's nice. Having the official book, well, it's not really going to work during the year. We saw in fall ball how hard that can be, but the official book is nice to have, especially up there. We can really see how many home runs there are. I'm announcing it during the games, most of the time. I just think what's going on, we can take into next year. I don't know what it's going to be, because we're both going to be playing. We're not all going to be available to play. Do the 7:30 streams or whatever. But do we pick a
right.
game a week or a game a month that we do this with? So,
Yeah, and
yeah,
even with that, I mean, there have been times where I'm like, do I even want to play? Or do I want to do, and you have talked about this too. It's like,
yeah, I've
do I want
talked
to
about it a
play, or
lot.
do I just want to do this podcast thing? Because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it can be more fun when you're not involved in the actual playing of
Mhm.
the game. So
The
yeah,
thing I hated the most about this was when we got knocked out of the toilet bowl. I basically went right upstairs and just started doing, like the PA, and hanging out with you guys and doing that, and like trying to bring that atmosphere. And I hated that, because the season was over, and went right into that, where I probably, looking back at it, probably wish I didn't. But now that I'm not playing, it's easy. I just go down Monday, Wednesday, go in for the games. And the nice thing where those stairs are, my
you get
truck
out of
is
there
right there.
quick.
I'm
Yeah.
an Irish goodbye. I've taken over your mold of just getting the hell out. So,
Yeah, it's
um,
you have to do that.
yeah.
Have to.
Well, let's, you know what, since we've got the scores up here, let's go in reverse order, because let's build the suspense of,
Yeah, build a
yeah.
suspension. VFW, VIP. They were missing 2.5 guys.
Mhm.
Silas was hurt.
Yeah.
Two of the guy, Cody and Jose, were out.
Yeah.
Two of their top four guys in the lineup. Like, that
And
happens
this
in the playoffs, and you're
Silas
gonna
being
lose.
hurt, he gutted it out. He was good last night too. Like, he hit well, still was flying around the bases, but I think defensively maybe it hurt him a little bit. But when you're missing your starting center fielder and your first baseman, where it kind of moves a lot of things around.
Yeah, and top four in the lineup. I mean, we've said that the bottom three guys in the lineup are what kind of win you games in the playoffs. And if those bottom three turn into bottom five, nothing against the guys that are going in, but obviously there's starters for a reason in this,
Right.
in this game. And yeah, you lose two of those guys, and that's huge. So wasn't really shocked to see that VFW took the series. It also looked like VFW was getting guys in to play
Mhm.
some playing time. They kind of took it lightly. So you also, at the beginning of that game, I was wondering, are they doing this? And what happens if they actually lose because of that? But
Right.
it didn't hurt them.
No, it didn't. We talked about it, on the broadcast, especially. I think we talked about it. I looked at their lineup, and it was interesting how they had things spaced out. But we saw in game two, when they had everybody stacked at the very top, they couldn't really get the offense moving there against VIP. Early, this game was kind of I can't even say it was a rock fight. It was more of a spitball fight, and VFW kind of took it on late. And just wasn't a lot of offense. VIP had struggled to kind of get consistent offense. I think there was a point where in TB in his second or third at bat hit an absolute fucking scud. And I actually said, when he was leading off an inning, I said, this is the time, TB, he blows one out here. Just fuck it. Let him blow one out. see if the boys can get going, get some energy there. And he hit the ball out, and it looked like a pair of wired underwear was hanging on the line. Like, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
The one thing I find interesting going forward with VFW is 2 of the games they put up 12 against VIP, and VIP is kind of known to give up a lot of runs. So you're like, what, how is that gonna shake out for VFW when they face NHI, who has arguably one of the best defenses in the league?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a great pitcher. So I'm
It's going to be
very interested to
interesting.
see that series.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to start to see the separation and moving right into that nice segue there of the NHI Tormeo game.
Speaking of separation.
Oh man, it was just they really separated from Tormeo very quickly, and as I mentioned earlier, I think the turning point in this game was there was the inning where Wesson fielded the ball up the middle, probably 10 feet to, if you're looking at the stream, to the right of second base, decided to throw it to first. Karima wasn't ready for it. Guy was safe.
Like, what are you doing? I think it might have even been before that, because I think NHI went out and hit a couple of 3-run home runs. Like, they were using their home runs very well. And Tormeo went out there and hit a solo, maybe a 2-runner. And then, they got some runs back, but they were chasing the whole game.
Yeah.
It was very similar to the first game that we'll get into, but they were chasing the whole game and they were losing in home runs.
Yeah.
And I've been playing this game a long time. If that's what you're doing as the home team, is you're chasing and you're not using your home runs well, yeah, you're going to lose that game.
I want to say Tormeo hit their 5 home runs and I know I said it on the stream, so, and I haven't watched the full game, but Tormeo hit their 5 home runs, I believe, for a total of 7 runs.
Yeah, and that was the story, the opposite story with NHI, or that was the story with NHI in the previous game. So it was just opposite of, and that's when they went out there and they scored 9 runs. Yeah, you wonder about NHI too. I think the first 2 games, what did they win, 19-8 in the first game?
I think so. Yeah, it was a pretty good, pretty big run differential between the two. And
19-8, I think, and then 11-9. That one game was the Twardowski game too. So you gotta that does play a factor in that. So
not being at Twardowski anymore is definitely going to help out here. I got to tell you, the nice thing here is V, with his, especially his young guys. I know V gets shit on a lot for not knowing guys in the draft, and V did a great job. We have been talking about this. Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. And I am going to throw kudos out to KP too. That Tormeo team was very good.
Fucking really good.
I think if they pick someone like VFW in the first series, I think they win.
Yes.
I think they win. Yeah. And then they just play, then they're playing Tormeo in the second series, or no, they're playing us, or no, they're playing, they would be playing. It would be the same thing. Yeah. It would be NHI and Tormeo for the second series. So yeah, I mean,
that's and I understand, like, I talked to KP a lot about it before the series. I said, what the, like, why? I know, like, you want to play the this is what we want to do. And it's like, why though? And his record versus VFW, Buckley, and NHI, his record versus NHI was by far the best out of those 3. But sometimes, that analysis by paralysis, you do look at VFW's lineup. We look at it last night.
That's one of those things where
NHI.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you really can't look at it regular season wise.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think that first round is all about picking against a pitcher, realistically.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you in our series, we figured we were going to be facing Gio. At least I did. And I was like, would I rather face Gio, Hartson? And we had talked about it. Hartson and Buckley was right there too, in our picks as well.
Sure.
Ultimately, it came down to the fact that Holtz was the last place team it would look stupid for us to pick anyone else.
That's overthinking it if you don't take them. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I always stay away from guys like Rusin, you stay away from guys like Tommy, and you pick the other guy. You pick the other teams, especially Rusin and Tommy are two of the top pitchers in the league, if not the top two pitchers in the league. So yeah, in first round,
in there.
Yeah, maybe
I'll do. I got you. I'll throw you in there.
First round, I'm never picking the top pitchers in the league.
No. Yeah, I mean, so now you're looking at it. You're looking at now VFW. Holtz wasn't there, so now you're really between VFW and Buckley. And would you rather face Hartson or Benny / Johnny Raymond, whoever? I'd rather go VFW because if Benny's on the mound,
he hasn't done it all year.
Away. Right.
He hasn't done it all year, and their defense is likely to get worse in the infield.
Right. So
I mean that game was very, you wanted it to be a slugfest, and they just stomped on them. That NHI team is going to be very good. I mean, they are very good. This series, I think that we'll get to this too. I think they're going to sweep VFW. I don't think VFW stands a chance.
We're doing good at building all this suspense to get into.
I know, but I mean, it's all right here, right?
It is. And so
we're already
last
21 minutes in.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, oh shit, we got to get moving. Our last one here, the Buckley Monahan game. And you want to talk about, you touched on it earlier, the home runs. This is another game where the home runs mattered. Buckley went out and they hit their 5 home runs for, I believe, 15, 16 runs.
I think it was 15.
It was 15 because it was the 3. I was doing the math on
3
the
threes,
stream last
1
night.
2 and 1 4.
Yeah. And then NHI had done the same thing. They had hit their 5 for, I want to probably say, they were right in that 2.7 to 3 runs per home run range. And Buckley, this game was unbelievable. And that was the difference. Monahan hit a couple home runs for 1, 2,
2 solos, 2 twos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that Monahan didn't consider going to the 5-man last night killed him. I think if Monahan, actually, Dustin, you said this last night, didn't you? Or this morning? The 5-man.
Yeah, just the fact that we're playing Buckley. This is the first 5-man that they're going to see in the playoffs.
And if Monahan goes 5-man last night, Monahan might have won that game if they're 5-man.
Yeah, because I don't think Tommy made a play last night. I don't even know if he was even able to.
I don't think there was anything real close to him to make the play.
There was definitely close enough to be
in the vicinity
at a middle infielder for sure.
Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you're giving up. They definitely, they're a team that gives up the middle shot and the infield holes, to keep guys at first on line drives to the outfield. Just didn't, I mean, when you're utilizing your home runs like that, though, with that Buckley team, you can hit 2 singles and then hit a home run, 2 singles, then hit a home run. Like a lot of those guys in the lineup can hit a home run. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how they do in the 3-man outfield. Correct. Against the 3-man outfield. Yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, and you also wonder if, you also wonder if Monahan, with those 2-run home runs and one-run home run, they're not a home run hitting team. So I mean that,
right?
They had 1 grand slam, and 2-run home runs for that team, I'd say, is pretty good.
And that's what I was even on the broadcast. I was sitting there and I'm like, all right, they don't hit home runs, so it's okay. Tommy hits a 2-runner. Billy wasn't hitting them out. Single Bill wasn't hitting them out until the grand slam. I think Tribuco hit a solo. So it wasn't really sitting there being like, you got to use these better. Tommy thought needed to use it better only because he's a guy that can get up and hit it out. But at the same point, it doesn't matter when you don't hit them. Yeah, in the first inning, that's a fine spot. In the first inning, you're down 6. You just got to get something there. So, yeah, like that one was fine. But once they started adding up, and then once they got to 4, I'm saying, ooh, they're at 4 home runs with a total of maybe like 5 runs off of them. That's when it comes back to hurt you. Yeah. But if there is a team that can kind of find the holes, find the gaps, score the runs without the home runs, this would be a team. However, Buckley kind of kept scoring, and when you can't hit the home runs for big runs, it's going to be tough to put up that 25 number. Yeah, biggest surprise for me for Monahan last night was Ian. Ian was just like, I think he only got on base when he walked. I think
And
he was on base twice.
yeah, so that's tough because he's usually, I feel like he bats 1,000 against me. So,
I was
and
shocked last night by that
yeah,
because I think I even started the night calling him Ian Automatico because he is just automatic. He has great eyes. He gets on base, and you know that was tough. And then on the backside, you know, you had Matty Hebert hitting well down in the Buckley order. You know, Teddy Christie with one fucking ACL, Kirk Gibson himself out there. You know, so Hartson was great. You know, so this was a great way to start the night. Unbelievable. And that's kind of way we worked backwards. Great evening last night. It was absolute blast to be there. But let's move on over to the new bracket here.
oh yeah, we got the tournament, right?
Look at this. Look at this.
Boom,
Oh, baby.
boom.
So now we have, since it is reseeded, we now have A&D Plumbing and Heating taking on Buckley Disposal. I can't believe. Look at 1, 9, 5, and 6.
Well, so I wanted to look
Wild.
back at it last year. I think the 1 and the 4 seed advanced last year. This and TA might be able to chime in here on this. It could be the first time that three low seeds have gone on to the semifinals.
Because with last year we had 5 and 6, 1 and 4.
1 and 4.
You lost to Monahan. We beat NHI, and NHI was the 4 seed. Yeah.
Yep.
Wild. Yeah, because we played VFW in the first round as the 2 seed, I think, and we beat them. No, I know we beat them. I think they're the 2 seed though. Yeah.
I think so.
Yes. So no, so this is gonna be fuck it. I'm gonna come out and say it. Buckley versus A&D, NHI versus VFW. This is gonna be a shitty round. I'm coming right out and saying this is like the second round of the NHL playoffs. The first round's where all the excitement is. You get to like that second round where the series, you know, maybe somebody squeaks through that shouldn't have, and you kind of get to that spot where you think it's going to be better hockey, but it's not. I think that's where we are.
I'm very interested to see how it shakes out because A&D and NHI were both in this situation last year.
True.
Both very similar teams, and they both did not win a game in this series. So, yeah, I mean,
and this is why I say this. So there's reasoning behind it a little bit. Buckley, they have if they don't win game 1, this thing's over Monday. Buckley's game 1 is huge for them just because of what happens to Buckley the next week. Teddy's not in the outfield. They've got some pieces to make. If Hartson continues to pitch like he's been pitching, they're going to be tough. However, I don't think that's the case. You guys have been sitting around a while, but it's not like the fucking real playoffs.
We had 1 day off.
Exactly. It just sounds better, right?
Yeah.
But but that one, I think game 1 in that is huge. If Buckley wins that, it'll go 3, but I think that series is over in 2. Especially knowing what we know for Monday night's game. And then the NHI VFW, I think with what we've seen from NHI and what we've seen from VFW, I just don't think that's really going to be a close match. I think that's going to be a pretty quick series. I don't really see the matchup there to keep NHI contained. So that's kind of why I'm saying I think this could be a lackluster round.
I get that too. VFW, I have not been super impressed by VFW in the postseason from what I've seen of them. I don't think it might have been just that one game that I saw them. Did they play at Martel?
Yeah, they played Martel the night prior, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Week.
Yeah, I was not impressed
game
with them. Yeah, not impressed with them there either. It'll be, I agree with you. I think A&D and NHI are both going to 2-0 in this round.
I think it's going to be a pretty quick round.
I think Buckley, our series, I think is going to be much closer than the other series, and that's the 1 versus the 9. And the other series is the 5 versus the 6.
I think your series versus Buckley is going to be much different. I think that's the series that's going to be big.
Has the potential to go 3 games. I believe.
And it all depends on Buckley with that first game. How they do. But I honestly think that NHI VFW series could be 2 run rolls and see you later. Thanks for coming. Kind of a game.
I think so too.
You know, NHI's fucking really feeling the flow pretty good. And you guys had a tough first round matchup, not in the sense of the competition, but in the sense of getting yourselves up in games you were really where there's no intensity in it. So this will be your first test in the playoffs where there's going to be a little bit of oh, you're gonna have to. The balls will be on the line a little bit, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, see, I mean, I agree with that, but I disagree with your statement about the first round and about having, you know, not having much to get up for. I think seeing that Holtz team win, you know, upset that Phantom team, the whole thing has been don't take anybody lightly at all. Like you can't. We not that we took Monahan lightly last year, but I think you look at it and you're like, oh, you're playing the 6 seed or you're playing the 9 seed. You can't do that. You just can't.
Right.
You have to go into every game like, you know, this is going to be a battle and play until the game's over.
But that's hard. Like that is a hard thing to do right there, is getting up for games like that, because you're right. You know, Holtz beating Phantom was big. But that's the hard part right there, is getting up for games where you can almost sleep on a team, that if you think like that, if you have that mentality. And you guys didn't. You put it away in 2, and you put it away pretty easily. So I think that's a good thing. What's that?
You could say that.
Yeah. So, you know, this is going to be a little different, where you're going to have Hartson on the mound. You know, Buckley's kind of feeling it pretty good. They just grinded out a series win after Teddy blows out an ACL in the first game. So they maybe have a little bit of they have a nice little story, if you will.
Yeah, and the story worked last year for the team that won it all. So
story one worked for both teams last year, with Peterson and Monahan making it to the final. So it was a couple of storied runs, if you will. Yeah, I mean, that was it. I just kind of wanted to, we do have, Colby did did throw in his picks as well. He's taken A and D in 2, high scoring series and competitive, NHI in 2, less competitive, NHI handles both games. And then the PRes comes out and says Buckley in 3, which no surprise. And then NHI in 2. So we have another clean sweep from the boys. That's crazy. And then last week we had Dustin and Colby went 3 for 4 in their picks. And then the PRes and JRo both went 2 for 4. So either Jim's going to catch up to me, or I'm going to pull away from Jim, and you and Colby are going to be tied at the end of this again. So yeah. Well, this was fun. A little different.
Yeah, this was good.
To talk our league.
Yeah, this is fun. I mean, like I said, I have as much fun in that press box as I do playing. So
nice up there.
It is nice. Look at that picture right behind you. We got it. You know, that's the boys right there.
Hey,
and
Coop's in there too. I got to figure out the fucking green screen. I might have to bring up some of the my noise canceling foam I've got in the studio here and just start putting it around I'll put it around the press box. Really make the acoustics sound great. So
the reverb though, the reverb down by the river.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah. I told you.
I was listening today on the stream. I was waiting for something because I said some shit last night. And I went back. I think it was Billy's home run. He was tagged. He tagged Vanty because Vanty had called Lafferty's grand slam, and I heard it. I heard the reverb from the speaker, and I was just like, "Oh!" I think that's when I texted you. I was like, "Dustin, this was legit. It sounds so good." So the reverb will stay. But
love it.
Yeah, come down. We'll see everybody. Hopefully, come on down Wednesday night. Like it's tomorrow night, 7:00 is the first game. That's going to be NHI taking on VFW. And then the second game will be A&D versus Buckley. Following that one, approximately 8 minutes after. Come down. Like, yeah, there's the streams, but come down, hang out, have some fun at the field.
Yeah. Bring a solo cup or two.
Yeah. We'll let them get into that on Thursday.
See ya.